Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon. Good evening, wherever you are. Thanks for sticking with us today. 7 minutes past 7 a.m. in the morning in Pacific time. Technical issues this morning, as always. I couldn't get NDI to work this morning, so JP is going to have a blast when he comes back because obviously my technical skills are not as in par with him. So you're going to be seeing smaller figures today. And unfortunately, I won't be able to put the awesome John Gallant big on the screen to show us what he's doing today. But hey, John, thanks for joining us this morning, man. How are you? You know what? I can blame JP for that because he said at the time, and then we stuck with it. I don't know why, because 7 a.m. is insanely early Pacific time to be able to do these things, and we have to get up early as well to prepare for this stuff. Tell us a little bit about yourself because I don't think everyone on the stream knows about you. Mm-hmm. Right. Mm-hmm. Oh, John, I think we can't hear you. That's interesting. Why? Why can we not hear you? Let me see whether your mic is muted. My Yeti NDI source. Let me see what is wrong here. Right, desktop. Can you speak now so we can make sure that people can hear you? Desktop audio, hopefully. It's working. 1, 2, 1, 2. Yeah, I think it's because your NDI source is not coming from audio output capture. What about now? Can you speak now? 1, 2, check. God damn. See, when everything is working out of the box, it's good. No, I think it's me not being able to output the sound from here. So I can't hear you there. Desktop audio, device.
Check.
What about now? 1, 2, 1, 2. Try to speak again. Yeah, I can see my Yeti, but not yours as an output. Let's see. JP is on the call trying to save us. see, so desktop audio. One, two, 1, 2. Oh, try to speak a little bit, John.
Check 1, 2.
Oh, I think we got you now.
Check.
I think I got you now. Should be okay. Let me
check 1, 2
very quickly. Yeah, I think we got you now. Okay, let me very quickly switch this one and we should be good to roll. Sorry for killing your mojo there as you were introducing.
Hey, all good. Do we have somebody confirming that they can hear me?
I hope so. Let me see. I can definitely see it going up and down. So I can see that the sound here is moving.
Okay, cool. Yeah, Chris just said, yeah, he can.
Awesome.
Perfect.
Okay.
Cool.
Good.
Yeah, so
let's do the intro again then.
Cool. Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for letting me know you can hear me. Yeah, so since you couldn't hear me before, so I've been at Microsoft for a while now. I hate to say the number of years, but let's say 16. Yeah, it's been a while. It's been most of my life here. But I really love it. And I recently joined the Azure SDK team back in November, and my main role here is to help with the adoption of the Azure SDK. So we're shipping a brand new Azure SDK, which adheres to a bunch of new design guidelines, packaging guidelines. There's a consistent CI. It's basically we're rebuilding everything with these consistent guidelines. Mm-hmm. And so part of that is getting people to use them, find them and use them, and then also get them to work with other tools like VS Code, with Microsoft Identity, with the CLI, Kubernetes, like everything that touches SDKs. Basically, I want to make sure that the SDKs work with. Mm-hmm. And so you'll see me a lot poking in through various tech channels and whatnot, just to talk to people and to them to teach me how they're using the SDK, and also for me to just share what we're working on. So if you go to, let me just open up a browser here.
Yep.
So you can see my desktop, right? Yeah. Okay. So AKMS AZ SDK will bring you to this page here. So this is a page that me and a couple of people on the team have been working on to help aggregate all of the SDKs across all of Azure, whether it's new or old.
Yep.
And so anything on this client libraries tab is going to be new. And anything on the all tab is going to be a combination of old and new. We got some scrolling issues to fix here, but the idea is that you'll be able to come to this one location and find all the libraries need. So we have all the languages. So all the languages that we support. We're going to have more soon. Like we're going to have C++, support for mobile with iOS and Android coming soon. But we have .NET, we have Java, JavaScript, TypeScript, and Python. And under management libraries, you'll see that we have these brand new management libraries that support all of these common design guidelines that I talked about before. So we have consistent identity, consistent logging, consistent namespaces, all that kind of stuff across that. So if you go client libraries, here you'll see that we have Azure Identity. Mm-hmm. And Azure Identity is a library that makes it super easy to work with all of the client libraries for all these different services. And we'll get into that a little bit more today.
Brilliant.
And so if you wanted like a very quick 3-minute intro, you go AKMS AZSDK intro, mm-hmm. and that's going to bring you to my site, my YouTube channel here, where it's a 3-minute introduction to the Azure SDKs.
Check that out. Videos and all. I love it.
Yeah.
But
so we can post that.
Our biggest challenge has been discoverability, right? And how can we let people know when to use the new one and when they're using the older one?
So if a new one exists, don't use the old one. But yeah, sometimes, and that's kind of what I'm getting at here is when we shipped this, it was all old. I mean, mm-hmm. all new. Yeah. But we've done a lot of work to get everything. So for example, we don't have Event Grid here. but we've done some work to add that here. So if you're still on a service that doesn't support the new libraries,
Yep.
or the new design guidelines, you'll be able to still find it here in all. And we're going to have a good push coming soon where we're aggregating pretty much any SDK. So if anybody finds one that is not here, just file an issue or just let me know, and we can add it. And then also, what I've been trying to do is build applications using the new libraries. And I had to do some internal dev training a couple months ago, and I was trying to think of an app to build to teach people about the new libraries.
Right.
And I came up with this an app I call the Meme Analyzer. And so let me, if you're cool, can I just bring you through what that app is and kind of what we're after today, or?
Absolutely. Let's walk through the app first, because we're doing quite a few things today, but it's nice to see what you've built so far and where we want to take the app, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So this is the app. So we have. So this is just, like I said, a demo app. It's using a bunch of tech under the covers, but it's basically an image analyzer, and you can paste in an image here and click submit, or you can click the add random meme button.
Love it.
Because what's that?
I love it.
Yeah, because we're live and the memes aren't always say kid friendly. I hesitate to click that add random meme button. I do want to add some logic to filter out some stuff, but occasionally I get some stuff that's not appropriate. So I front loaded with some memes here that I think are appropriate for us. So what it does is you click this button, either submit or add random meme, and it will. Actually, I have a diagram here. Let me just pull that up. See. Yep. So the front end here is a Blazor WebAssembly app.
Right.
And you post an image to the API. The API is an ASP.NET Core API. And that API will add that image to blob storage, and it will also add a message to queue.
Nice. Using
the new libraries. And then I have a .NET Core service that will receive messages from that queue and extract the text from that image using a form recognizer. These two are cognitive service libraries. Form recognizer does some OCR to extract the text from the image.
Very nice.
And then I take that text and I send it to the cognitive service text analytics service, which will determine the sentiment.
Yep.
So it's either a positive, neutral, negative, or mixed. So mixed is both positive and negative. I think they couldn't determine what it is. And then I will add the results to Cosmos.
Nice.
And I have Signal R working here to pull the Cosmos database. So when that is inserted, the sentiment is added, it will automatically update the UI.
There you go. That's a lot of services, by the way, there. And I think it's a great app because it goes to show how much you can build with the existing Azure SDKs. And I was looking through the code the other day, and it does a lot of things, but it's fairly simple in its operation. Like you don't have to write tons of code. And when it comes to doing the image analysis and the OCR, then this is where it all shines, because you don't have to do any work. You just send a request to the cognitive services, and then they come back. And the nice thing is that they're free, right? Cognitive services. I think you have an allocation of free analysis for, which I think most people won't even hit unless they're doing something super heavy.
I can't. I actually don't know. I can't comment on that. But yeah, it is nice. But also, somebody on the team recently took out. Let's see. They took out a lot of these services and replaced it with the new search service, which does a lot of these features just built into search. So form recognizer, text analysis. You can basically give it a skill, and it will do a lot of this itself. So they basically ripped out a lot of these services and replaced it with that. So this is something I want to play with in the future too. The cool thing with this, it also is that I can swap out storage. So if I don't want to use Cosmos DB document, SQL, I can switch it to, tables, which is the tables library is coming soon. I can swap out queue with event hubs or service bus. So there's a lot of things that I want to do with this. The first version I wrote is in .NET, but I also want to take it to all the languages. And I started working with building this in Java. So the Java or the Python version right now will use the Blazor front end, the ASP.NET Core backend, but the Python service.
Right.
So you can mix and match different languages. And then, so what I want to do today, so there's no authentication, no authorization at all in the app. It's just you load it, everybody sees the same list of memes. And so what I want to do is allow people to sign in with any account. So this block right here does not exist. It does not talk to Azure Active Directory at all. So I want to add this. And here's what I'm thinking is authenticate with the app itself. Like that's the first step. Second step is to call into the API using that authentication. So when I add a blob, I'm adding it on behalf of my account. And so when I sign in to the app, I'll see my memes, not everyone else's memes. And then all the way through the data store as well, I want to be able to query only my memes. So it's like step by step is add authentication to the front end, add authorization to the API and to the data store. So that's kind of actually one more step too, is I want to be allow the user to toggle a switch, which is public or not. So the landing page shows all of the public memes that are determined by people setting it to public. So that's kind of, I've been talking to Christos a bunch about authentication and how it works with Azure SDKs and Microsoft Identity. And, it's kind of a confusing story right now, honestly, to a user who goes and sees these two different ways of doing things. And so I wanted to get together and see how we can make them work together, better together. I have not done any Azure Directory B2C work at all. And so basically this session I want to be about Christos showing me how to, just from scratch. Here's an app, I want to add authentication. How do I do that?
Yeah, and we're going with B2C obviously because we want anyone, not just people in our org, to be able to log in and use the app. We could have gone down the route of having an organizational account, which would have been Azure AD. And there's also an option within the solution later on if we want to actually add both. So we can have kind of an SSO functionality for people that work at Microsoft or whichever organization would deploy this as if we make it a multi-tenant one, and then have B2C for external users to come and see or come and use the application. But I think we should start with Azure AD B2C. Now, before we get started, it's important to say that when we use B2C, most of the work actually takes place in the setting up. So we have a Blazor WASM, if I remember, in the front end. Is that correct, John?
Yeah, that's right.
So that's a client service, Blazor client side solution. So it's Blazor WASM. There are some idiosyncrasies with authentication when it comes to Blazor, which is slightly different. We'll talk about it when we get there. But Blazor WASM is in effect creating a single page application. The artifacts are a single page application. We have an API that is running in .NET Core. And then further down the line, we have a few more APIs. So I would start with the first thing, which is let's open the source code. And then also let's open the Azure portal, because we will need to go and start setting up our app registrations and the things that are necessary.
So for anybody that's not, for anybody that's not familiar with Blazor, basically it's you write C# code and you run it in the browser. So all of the entire app is a C# app, and so we have pages. Inside of those pages, we have C# code and HTML. That gets compiled into a WebAssembly file, a component that is shipped to the browser. So I like it because it's C# the entire stack. And it's, for the .NET C# dev, it's nice. But when I build out, this is the .NET version. When I build out Python, I'll do whatever is idiomatic to Python in Java in, whatever language we're using. So let's take a look at what page did you want me to go to?
I think if you search for Azure. So you can set Blazor with Azure AD B2C, because this is where most people will start anyway.
I'm gonna do Azure AD because I don't know B2C. Let's see if it comes up.
It will come up with the same set of documents which are currently, there you go. The top one. It should be fine. Just click on the top one there. Yeah, in the docs. And then you'll notice that it takes us to the Azure AD B2C, which is exactly where we need to be. And it starts with create a tenant. And I think we've already created a tenant. I pinged you earlier on to say go and spin up a B2C tenant. Is that correct?
I have not done that.
Oh, you have not done that? Okay, well, we can go and do it then. Log into the Azure portal and we can guide you through the process. It doesn't take long anyway, so don't worry about it. It's not like API management that used to take 2 hours to spin up, right? Because that would have been an interesting stream. There you go, let's go and spin up API management. Thanks everyone, we'll see you in 2 hours.
Well, yeah, let's hope it's fast.
It should be fast.
Okay, cool.
So from there, if you search for B2C at the top, there's a nice search bar at the top. I know you're not a portal person. I think it was.
Oh no, I was just messing.
And from there you see Azure AD. So the first one that comes up is services. So let's click on the service.
So is this actually creating a tenant?
Not yet. So that's the Azure AD B2C. No, that's interesting. No, let's take a search again. Azure AD B2C.
Okay.
And yeah, click on the services. You know what? I think there's a funky. I got caught up by that before. I'm not using B2C that frequently. So what happens if you click on the top one? The Azure, the one you have selected there. Should be a way to spin up a new resource.
Access is denied.
Oh, are you using your Microsoft tenant?
Yeah.
Do you have a separate tenant? A test tenant? You don't have a test tenant. Ah, okay. Right. So
maybe, but I don't have any Azure resources.
If you have a, well, yeah. Usually
I think I do actually may have a different account that I signed up with this email.
Okay.
But don't we have a way to create a demo tenant?
There is a way to create a demo tenant. Do you want to go and do that? Although I'm not sure you'll be able to spin up a B2C tenant in there. That's interesting. I don't know why you don't have permissions to create a B2C tenant. Because I was able to create one under the Microsoft tenant. So, and you tend to have more permissions than me, right?
I have no idea.
Right. So Azure AD B2C, and then I think it's because when you did that, it was inside the Azure AD tenant. So let me very quickly.
I might have.
No, we should be able to create one. Just give me a second.
Hold on. I may have one here. Let me just try. I might need to sign in. Let me just do this off screen just in case there's anything.
See, I actually gave feedback on the team about that. Sign into Azure.
Okay, so I can create a tenant in a. Wait, okay, so I have a tenant. I don't know if I have a B2C tenant. Let's see. Admin portal. Okay, yeah, I guess I do have a tenant. Okay, what do I do if I have a tenant?
So you need to sign in. You should be a contributor there.
Okay. And my Microsoft account has to be a contributor there?
It doesn't have to be a Microsoft account. Any account that we can use to create a tenant.
Okay.
So you should be able to go create a resource. In fact, if you come back here and go create a resource, let's not search for ADB2C. Go into No, don't do a search. Go into the homepage or all services or whatever. Yeah, click create a resource. And then search for B2C here. Yeah, click on the top one. There you go. Just create a new one. Top one, and then we'll need to come back and link it.
Interesting. I wonder why it didn't let us do that.
It's something that caught me before when I was playing with B2C. I hadn't played in a long time, and then I joined the team. I was like, I'm going to spin up a B2C tenant.
Yeah,
I went through
maybe
the
we
normal
should
process.
capture that as feedback. So Azure SDK demo. AZ SDK demo. We good?
We are good. Just review and create.
Create. Cool. Well, I'm glad we figured that out. The other screen I was at was like a nightmare. So
no, it's fine. So that should take a little bit of time. Maybe we can go in the docs while this one is being created, and we can look into what we will need to do. So first we need to create a tenant, which we're creating right now. Then we need to create an app registration. This is what it will tell our app what to do and how it will interact with the B2C tenant, what permissions we need and what have you. Then scroll down a little bit. We'll expose an API later, not just now. So we'll start with the client app. So we're looking at the register client app. This is the one that will be logging in users against a tenant.
Okay.
And with B2C, you have options, right? So you have an option on how you want to authenticate your users. The first one is going to be, by default, you have a username and password. So you create with the B2C tenant, you get a local database where you manage the users. So if someone comes to our site and says, I don't want to use my social media account, I just want to create a username and password, which I tend to do most of the time, then I can use that. But we want to make it easy for people to bring their existing accounts. So as you scroll down, let's scroll down a little bit more. Now let's stop here a little bit. We don't have a brand new app. The instructions here are great when you're using the file new project approach, but as with most brownfield projects or with most developers, you rarely get a chance to work on brand new projects. So even though this CLI template is fantastic because it sets up the project for you and does everything, we also need to understand what we need to do in order for us to add authentication retrospectively into our app. So we'll skip the create app because we don't need it right
typically
now.
what I would do is create a blank app and then just do a compare to see.
Copy. Yeah.
Or to see what's different. Yeah. I think when I created mine, I don't remember seeing these options. Are these pretty new or?
These are fairly new, yeah. And maybe we can do that. I mean, we were going to try to do that anyway, right? We need to see what we need to bring along. Further down in the documentation, it shows you exactly what you need to add as you go through the process. But we can either use a guide here or we can do the side-by-side comparison. It's totally up to you, whatever is easier for you.
Let's do the approach that you think you're most comfortable with. Let's just do that.
So let's maybe spin up the template. But do you have the Blazor WASM templates?
Oh yeah.
You do.
I don't know if I have the latest, but does it automatically pull down the latest?
I think so. But before we do that, we need to have our B2C tenant. So let's go back and see if that's tenant is created. Let's go to that one. So we'll ask you to log in. So now we're inside our B2C tenant, right? Okay. So you're still logged in with your account, and here we need to go and create our app registration.
Okay.
So let's click on that one. This is the new one, and click on a new registration.
Let's just call this demo client.
Yes, because we'll have an API later.
Yeah.
And we'll leave the supported account types as it is because we want people to log in with any social media accounts and our B2C accounts. So
I like this messaging. For some reason, when I saw it before, it seemed a lot more verbose. This seems more straightforward.
Yes, they're iterating through design. It's for now. Well, let's leave it as blank, and then we can come back and fix it.
Leave this as blank. Okay.
Yeah. We'll come and fix it afterwards. So click register.
In this,
Yep, just leave it as it is. Grant admin consent to OpenID Connect and access permissions. So our app is created. We have the basic information we need. Let's go back to our documentation.
okay.
You'll notice that it requires, so we have B2C. If you scroll down, if you scroll a little bit to the right, scroll to the right in the command, in the CLI, just to show people.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. So we have the B2C tenant, which we now have. We have an API client, which we have now. The app ID URI, which we have.
We didn't set it, so
No, I think that is app ID URI. Let's go back to the documentation again to see what it says for the app ID URI. App ID URI. I think it's the same. Yeah, it's the same as the client ID.
what's weird here is that it says URI, but the example is a GUID.
Yeah. It says C note though. What's the note? What does the note say below? Oh, that's for the access tokens. I think we can skip that one because that is when you have an API in the backend and you want to add it to your.
Gotcha.
We can skip that that option because it's optional. I think that in the CLI.
Got
That's
it.
fine.
So maybe someday.
Hopefully today.
Let's see. Where are we? Where's that
So a little
CLI?
bit further up.
Okay,
There
here we
you
go.
Client ID, default scopes. We can skip that one. We don't need the default scope. Domain we need, and we need a sign in or sign up policy. Now that's what tells our users how to interact with B2C. So if we go back into our B2C tenant, we're going to create a policy. So if you click, if you go on home and then right next to that is Azure AD B2C, there you click on that one. Takes us back to our homepage, and further down you'll see there's user flows in the policies. Let's click on the user flows and create a new flow. This is what we use to say we want to create a way for the users when they click on something to come to B2C and either password reset or configure their profile or sign up or sign in. So let's go with the sign up and sign in. These are, by the way, the new user flows. They have been simplified. Scroll down, go with recommended,
Okay.
and click create. We need to give it a name. So this will be Azure
Client. It's a client flow, right?
It is a client flow. User, yeah, you can say sign in, sign out. So underscore SU, SISU or something. SISU.
Sign in, sign out.
Yep. So let's click on email sign up because that's the only identity provider we have right now. See how you can actually enable multi-factor authentication, which is great. And then further down it says what kind of attributes do you want to collect. We'll go with click on show more. And here I think we need to select the display name. Let's go back to the documentation just to make sure that we have it right.
Sure.
I think the display name is the one that populates the so scroll down a little bit.
Should we go to custom flows
No, we don't want custom flows. We don't want that.
Client app?
Yeah, let's go to client app. That's client app configuration. Okay. I think it's given name, if I remember correctly. Let's go with given name for now.
I'm not seeing name, given name.
Yeah.
Right here.
That's the one. What does it say? Login display. What does it say? Display name, user attribute. Yeah, display name. Okay, it is display name, not given name. So that's the one that will populate our, not in the collect attribute, it will be in the return claims. So when you get the ID token, it will come back with that information. If you want to add more, you can see you can actually enrich the token and the information you grab from your users to to make it more configurable and collect more information. So you can also add custom attributes as well if you want later down the road. So if you're creating an app that needs to collect some additional information, I don't know, date of birth or whatever, then you can do that, or phone numbers. Right. Click OK on that.
Okay.
And let's hit on create.
Okay.
And that should be there. I think if you click on the flow now.
Here?
That one, yep. You can even test it if you want to. So if you click at the top, run user flow, it gives you the ability to test it. Now we don't have a reply URL, so nothing will come back. We can quickly actually test. If we go back to our app registration, so if you go back to the home page and then click on the app registration. No, not that home. There you go, app registrations here. And then on the Azure SDK demo, there, we can go and add authentication for us. So click on the authentication. And from there, add the platform. Web.
So why are we doing web versus single page?
That's a good question. Let me see what the tutorial says. If I remember correctly, I think it should be single page app. It should be further up, register apps in Azure AD. Can't remember which one I selected. So further up. So all the way to the top. Register, not the server API, but the client. Click on the. By the way, we're doing the hosted one, but this is a standalone B2C, right? Sorry, it's a standalone Blazor app. So in the documentation, if you scroll up a little bit, not on the right hand side, on the there. So standalone with AAD B2C. That's the one. Because we're not hosted, right? Standalone. Yep. So scroll down a little bit.
Okay, so just to be clear, so hosted. So hosted means that the API, that the entire thing is .NET, right? Standalone means that it's rendered as pure old HTML.
Yep.
Or is that how it works?
I think hosted has a .NET runtime.
Yeah, that's right. Sorry. Yeah, .NET runtime. Okay. WebAssembly. Okay. So single page app.
Yes. So if you go into, where is the app registration? Do you skip that one? Should be further up, right?
Let's take a look.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the .NET CLI will be slightly different. So scroll up a little bit more. Platform web, right? You add web, you don't add single page app.
Interesting. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, we should look into what the difference is there.
If you do the single page app, it will actually have a different. I mean, we're already using implicit flow anyway. So let's say the redirect URI for now. Let's do HTTPS / JWT.ms.
Is this some sort of test site that we run?
It is. It actually grabs the token from the response from B2C and then displays it straight away into JWT.
Interesting.
So it actually renders the token. It shows you the claims and what have you. So if you save that and go back to our,
Okay, so no logout, no implicit
and we need
grant.
access tokens and ID tokens. I will explain that later on. But click on configure on this one. So now if we go back to our flow, click on just one level up.
Here?
Yep. Click on that and then go to our flows and click on this one and then run the flow.
Okay.
So you can see the reply URI was there. Oh, no. You're going too fast. So run the user flow at the bottom.
Gotcha.
No, you don't need to click on anything. Just Press the button. There you go. Now, this actually presents you with a login information, but we don't have an account yet, so we need to sign up for it.
Okay. Do we actually want to go through that now?
Maybe not. We can leave it for later. It just shows you how you can quickly test things.
Yeah, nice.
Right, so let's go back to our app registration. Sorry, I'm jumping through quite a few things here, but back to our app registration. Just to make sure that we add the appropriate redirect URIs.
Okay.
In authentication, the authentication tab, under add URI there, just at the bottom of your page. Yep. Click on this one, and then let's look into the docs again. Go back to the documentation. It says add the redirect URI, which should be step 4. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, step 1. Right. We need the local hosts. 1080, if I remember correctly, is where we're running, right?
Correct.
Yep.
Okay, let's add it. We are actually not doing HTTPS.
Yes, but it supports both. By the way, HTTP is only supported for localhost. Everything else needs to be HTTPS if you're testing things. But it allows us at least to test locally, right?
Right. Yeah.
So let's save that one. And I think with that information, we can go back and now maybe spin up a vanilla Blazor WASM with authentication and see what how it looks, right, in comparison to ours. Because we already have an app. Go on.
Question. So because we have 2 redirects, will it attempt this one first?
It doesn't matter. It attempts everything. So whatever you're running, then if you are, say, if you were testing it, and you want to see what happens, then Jot allows us to very quickly do that. You can have as many as you want. So you can have one for dev, one for QA, and one for production. If you're using the same app registration. You need to use implicit flow. So let's talk a little bit about that. Let's maybe spin up the application, then we'll walk through the application to see what it does. And so we've done the sign in, sign up flow. We got the display name. So now we're ready to use the .NET CLI to spin up the vanilla app.
Yep.
For me, I found this was the easiest way to add authentication. The document does a good job in actually explaining what you need, but sometimes being able to quickly test it against your tenant is nice.
Sure. It'd be excellent if they auto-generated, based on the tenant. If I could just click a button to generate my app, that would be.
Yes. In fact, in Azure AD, we already have that. I don't know if you're aware of that, but when you create an app registration in Azure AD, there are quick starts. And then from there, you can say, I want to create a WASM, a .NET ASP.NET app, or a .NET Core app, or a Java app. And then it will configure the application or a Node app. And it will configure your application based on the app registration details. It will use a template and then download the project with everything configured for you.
That's cool. All right, so I am running this in WSL.
Nice.
Let's see if it works. I'm going to copy this.
Let's put it in maybe a notepad or somewhere so we can edit the details because you will need to configure them.
Sure. Got it.
Yeah, so the AD B2C instance.
Okay.
If you go back into the portal, then if you go into the root, if you click on the overview at the left-hand side, then that's your instance, if I remember correctly. That should be your instance. Oh no, that's the tenant domain. Yes. So you see the tenant domain down there? I always like to edit these in Notepad or text editor and then paste it into the command because you have to go back and forth and edit and paste, so it's easier to do it like that. My personal preference.
No problem.
So let's change the tenant domain to be the one that we just grabbed from the website.
This guy? Okay.
Yep. Then if we go back into our app registration, we'll need to grab a couple of details from there. So app registrations, click on this one. First, let's grab the application ID. So Azure AD, B2C, client ID, yep. And then if you want to go into the portal, if you click on the endpoints, then you need to grab so on the first one, grab the HTTPS all the way to the on Microsoft.com. That's your AD tenant. So
this is super weird. Why did they create the subdomain like this with spaces in it?
That is super weird. Oh, that's gonna make our life interesting now. But hopefully it URL decodes. So grab everything from HTTPS all the way to the on Microsoft.com. That's our B2C.
This?
Yeah.
This is the instance?
That is the instance.
Okay.
And then, yep, the O will be for the app name. I think this is what that will be the output of your vanilla app. So this is where it's going to stick it. I don't know if we want to, I think if we skip it for now, if you remove the O, the -O app name, it will be on the current directory, right? So it picks up that. And then the SSP is the sign in or sign up template. So we need the full name for that. If you go back to the root and user flows and just grab that name.
This one?
Correct.
Okay. Okay, so this is just to generate the app.
Give me a second. We need probably to remove the, can we remove in the instance, remove the /AZ SDK demo.on Microsoft. And the /, yeah. Yeah, that should be the one.
Okay. Now, should it be individual B2C?
Yep.
Okay. All right, do you want to try and run this?
Yeah. What's the worst that can happen? We can run it again and again.
All right, here we go.
Check that out. All successful. Let's go and take a tour of the new app now. There you go. So let's start with program.cs. That's our starting point, right? So you'll notice that in the vanilla one, they have the root.components.add. And then below we add the add MSAL authentication with the configuration information that is in the app.settings.json. And this is all you need to enable authentication into your app from a bootstrapping perspective.
Gotcha. So you're talking these 3 lines?
These are the 3 lines, yes.
Okay.
That's all we need. Now, let's click on the CS procs file. There. There's a reference called microsoft.authentication.webassembly.msal. So right now, for Blazor client application, WASM applications, we create a wrapper between the MSAL.js and the .NET Core code. This NuGet package actually does all the magic. It also brings the sim in, so when you do the authentication in JavaScript, it knows how to speak to the .NET components. So by adding this library, it allows you to quickly get off the ground without you having to deal with JS files and .NET NuGet packages and what have you. This may change slightly as we go to GA the Microsoft.aden.web, which is a new library. But for now, if you are building Blazor apps with Azure AD or AD B2C, this is the library that you need for the WASM solution. So this is the only NuGet package you need from an authentication perspective. Let's move into
I wanted to call out too that I was talking to Daniel. He said that at 10 today they're going to have a stream at live. I think it's live.asp.net.
It is, and I think they will also be displaying. They will also be doing a live stream on the Visual Studio Twitch. So we will raid their channel after today. If you're still around with us, for those ones that are following on the on the stream, we will actually raid them later on. So if you want to stick around and see what's coming in Blazor, there's the ASP.NET stand up today. So make sure to stick around. Full day of streaming. It's insane. Right, let's go to the app.razor.
Okay.
There. Here, that's interesting. I was talking to Daniel yesterday about this one because he was doing my nothing, right? For some weird reason, something doesn't render properly inside the IntelliCode, so it feels that the cascading authentication state is not there, but it is. It builds and runs fine.
Okay.
So you'll notice that unlike the vanilla one, now we have a cascading authentication state. Which looks into your context, and if it finds an identity, then it adds it to the page. If it doesn't find an identity, then it says you're not authorized or whatever. So it changes the standard template as well. Let's move to the imports.razor. I know you're dying to go into the other stuff, but in here we have a new import, which is line 3, Microsoft.ASP.NET components.authorization. That's the extra line that you need to add. Excuse me. Let's move to the www root. In here we have an app settings.json. And the nice thing is when you use the Blazor template, it will actually create and populate this one, which is great because you don't have to think about it. You'll notice that it points to our sign in, sign out flow, and it has the client ID, so it knows where to go, which tenant to use, and how to authenticate against the solution. In the index.html on the same directory.
Yep.
If you scroll all the way to the bottom of the page, you'll notice there's a new script added there, which is Microsoft Authentication Web Sal blah. So we have that one.
Yep.
And then if you scroll up to the pages, the shared and the pages, sorry, I meant on the navigation or Solution Explorer, whatever. On the pages, we have the authentication page. This one is when you call authentication.action, it will do a login or a logout appropriately and will direct the user to the appropriate endpoint inside B2C.
Got it.
If you go to the shared, there are a couple of small changes.
Which one? Shared.
Shared, yep. We have the login display, which is the one that shows at the top of the page on the navigation bar. It's like login or logout, depending on what the state of the current user is.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have the main layout, which has changed slightly to include the login display that shows in red over there. Again, IntelliCode is going crazy, or IntelliSense. And then in the redirect to login, that's a new page. This is the one that initialized the return URI. So this one remembers where you came from when you do the login. So let's say you're inside your, I don't know, your data page, and then you say, you know what, I need to log in. You log in, and then it redirects you back to the login page, so it remembers the state. And
Nice.
these are the changes that you need to do we need to do to our existing app in order for us to be able to add the authentication. And we'll probably use, because we're not using the template, we'll need to copy a couple of components. Yeah, let's build it. Sometimes you need to do a clean, which is weird. In fact, yesterday I had to delete the bin and the OBJ files the directories to make it work for some weird reason.
Okay.
Because it builds fine, right? It doesn't have any issues. It's just IntelliCode inside VS Code going a little bit haywire. That's it. I mean, in fact, this one now, we could test it and see if we can log in, right? So before we start doing any changes to our existing application, maybe we spin this one up and
Right.
see what happens when we run.
Let's just get our localhost set to 1080.
Either that, or we can add the 5,000
okay.
localhost
Yeah, let's do
into
that.
our redirect URI, so you don't have to change your app back and forth all the time.
I like it. Okay, let's see if I can actually remember where that is.
So me.
Let's see.
Authentication.
Redirect URIs. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Got
there
it.
you go. So in there, you'll need to add the same as the top one, just different URI, different port. Yeah.
So let's see if
5,000.
1. Let's see. Is that what it is?
That's for the HTTPS, I think. And
Yeah,
it should listen to both, so you should be fine.
Interesting. It's pulling up on that port.
What?
Oh, I know. Probably because it's WSL.
Ah, right.
Let's see. Well, we can add that port, I guess.
We can add that port as well. Add as
Let me
many as you want. Mine probably had about 20 yesterday as I was playing around last week.
Okay. Looks right.
Looks right to me.
Okay. So, quick login.
Click login. Just thinking about it.
I saw something pop up and then it.
Oh, they go to a different window. Just do a refresh on this one. Oh. Ooh. Is that like a pop-up blocker or something?
Oosh. I don't think I have any.
Huh.
I could. Let me check my extensions here.
That's interesting. Maybe also open F12 and see if there is any errors, if there are any errors popping up. Error name not resolved. Authorization failed.
I'm gonna guess it's something to do with the spaces, but that could just be me.
It almost thinks that you've already done the authentication and it's failed, which is weird. Maybe it hasn't picked up the changes from the
Oh, look, it needs the backslash. Look at this.
Oh, right. Yeah, you know what?
And not backslash forward.
Yes, it needs it in the B2C instance. So something did not.
I think it might be in config here somewhere.
It's in the app settings
right here.
Yes. Good man.
We'll see. No celebration yet.
Why not? I feel confident.
Okay, let's see if I can just reload it.
You went straight to the.
Let me just do Control F5.
Maybe go to the login page first. Sorry, the home page, and then come to the login page.
Okay.
Yep. Click on login now. Huh.
Okay. We might need to rebuild.
Yes, because it's statically compiled, isn't it? I mean, it generates
No, it got the slash.
So why is it failing? You haven't even tried. Error name not resolved. I wonder if the spaces are causing problems.
You want to go back and change the name, see if we can...
No, you'll need to spin up a brand new... it's the actual tenant, not the... Although it shouldn't really matter. So why is it complaining?
I personally haven't seen spaces in a subdomain. It just looks like bad form.
So why you want to go and create a new tenant just to make sure that this is not a problem? Because my when I was testing it with the template, it worked out of the box, but I did not have any spaces there.
So we're sure that's the actual tenant name then, right?
It is, yeah. So the instance should be, yeah. You mean in the app registration? Let's go back to the app settings.json.
So this right here is the tenant name.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because they didn't tell me to not use spaces.
Yeah, I mean, they should have complained, right? Let's see what I have in mind. Just compare the just comparing with mine. Make sure that we have the right things. And I think it's something to do with the app settings.json. The authority. Let me check your authority again.
Okay, in the portal.
And No, I'm just no in the app settings.json.
One second.
Mm-hmm. In
App
code,
settings.
in code, right?
Yep, got it.
So just comparing with mine to make sure that we're consistent there. Azure SDK, yeah, so on Microsoft, then you have your what's it called? The flow, the template, which is fine. I wonder if the spaces in the authority are causing an issue now, which would suck if that's the case. Can we URL encode in the JSON so we can pass it in and code it? I wonder if that's the problem.
Could be. Yeah. Okay. It looks like it's automatically URL encoding. So.
It seems true.
I mean, it's just space 20, right?
Yeah. I think there's a website somewhere that URL encode stuff.
Yeah, I already got it.
Okay. If you go in the Azure AD B2C portal, I want to test let's go and test the flow. Yeah, this one just pops up and then just disappears, but what does it say? Well known. Change spaces to, yeah, I think we need to encode it maybe inside the JSON file.
Yeah, I did that.
Oh, you did that already? Did you recompile though?
Well, I mean, the URLs here have spaces. And here.
Have you, let's stop and rerun.
Sure.
Or did you do that already and I didn't realize?
No, I haven't. I didn't stop and start, but we can try it out.
Yeah, actually, they should stop you from putting spaces in the domain name, right? I think that's decent feedback.
Some good feedback.
Yeah, there you go. First feedback of the day. Do not allow us to put spaces in domain names.
Okay, so it looks like it's
running.
It's going. Same.
Error name not resolved.
Yeah, it's got to be. I'm guessing it's spaces. So let's just recreate it.
Yep. So if you go back to yep.
So here, enter the organization name.
So that was your Azure SDK X, but the first one was the. Yep.
Are you sure we can't just go and change the name?
No, because it creates it and I think it sticks there forever and ever. You need to click on create. Press create at the bottom.
Yeah, one sec. Hey. Yeah.
Mom sees a spider. She's panicking.
It's not the domain name.
Wait.
Yeah. Yeah. It's live.
Can I send here?
No.
Okay.
All right. So validation passed. I'm going to create. Hi.
How many followers?
Somebody says it is not the domain name.
Oh.
But it is not the domain. But I think it was.
It seems.
Because I can't see anything different on the one I have that is working fine. So from
what's interesting is I think the template generated with. Let's take a look. So the template generated with this authority, this B2C login. So when you created that before, did it use the tenant app name for the subdomain of the B2C login page?
Do you want to change that to AZ SDK demo?
Okay.
Yeah, let's build and rerun. I wonder if we grabbed the wrong thing from the settings.
Okay, when we generated the template, could be.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go back. Here. Okay. One sec.
Oh, error name not resolved. Again? Or was it the
But
previous
it wasn't. It wasn't. Okay. There we go.
Aha! There you go.
Okay, great. So we didn't have to create a new tenant. It's just here.
It's free. It's free.
Okay, so we did. Let's
So
just
we-
take a look. So
Yeah.
when we entered that, I guess the app name. We remember we didn't enter that.
We skipped that because we already had the app in the directory, or we had a directory. I think if you put the app name, it creates a directory for you and sticks the solution there.
Okay. Okay, cool. So let's
Okay.
just see if this works.
You don't have an account yet, though, right? So we need to sign up for it. You need to use an actual email because you will send a validation or a verification code. This could be, yeah, let's hide it. That's your Gmail account.
Let's see. Right. I'm just doing this off screen.
Yeah. No, it's absolutely fine. We don't want people to see your personal email.
Interesting.
What?
It asked me to do a verification code first. Okay,
Correct.
so
Yeah.
So okay, let me.
So this
go
is
into-
protecting against spam.
All right, let me see if I got that in my email.
Should.
Yes,
very
I have
good.
it.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good sign.
It is a good sign.
Okay, so now it's asking me to put in a password.
And it actually enforces a strong password. It's in the settings of the.
Okay, so let's go back to the app. Hello.
Hello.
Interesting
hello.
that it didn't pull over my name.
Yes. Did
So I
we
believe
select? Let's go back to the app registration. I wonder if we just select the wrong thing. If I remember correctly, it said you need to select the given name, right? In the display name, application claims, display name, user attribute. So back to the app registration. Now you need to click on the B2C tenant first, right? This one will take you to the Azure AD tenant. Oh yeah, okay. Oh, you're already
I'm just a
inside
normal
your
user trying stuff out.
So if you go into authentication, no,
Yeah.
it was in the flows. Sorry, it was in the flows. It
Flows.
was not here.
Okay. Let's see if I
on
can
this-
remember how to get to flows.
Uh-huh.
I think it's not at this level.
Correct. You need to be inside the B2C resource. There you go. So user application claims. Yeah, we do have display name. That's interesting how I didn't pull it.
Given name, let's see what the template uses. And that was in shared, probably login display.
Mm-hmm.
Identity.name. Okay, so we don't know what that maps from.
Based on the docs, that should map to display name. But I can quickly check the mine and see what I have there. Yeah, see, display name. But the
Okay.
minimum select application claims display name, user attribute.
Oh, I know, because I created a registration, but I didn't.
Oh, you
I
didn't
didn't
put
enter
a
my
name.
name. I only entered my email.
Right. So if you go back into your B2C tenant, at the root, you should be able to see users. So click on the users. You should see your two accounts there. Maybe that's the Microsoft one, isn't it? So that's not the one that you used. Am I correct? Or is that the one
Yes,
that
I
you used?
actually did use this.
Oh, interesting. Okay. So click on edit. First name, last name. That's really populated fine because I used my my Microsoft account as well and populated. Okay. User principal name. Anything else further down? Job name, typo manager. No, that should be all the information we need. Okay, save that one and see if that changes anything if we log out and log in again. So if we go back to our app now.
Got it.
Log out.
Log out. Cool, got it. Log in. Okay.
Off the screen. Hey, let me know if you need any breaks or anything because sometimes you get in the zone and you forget about it. We're allowed to take breaks.
Yeah, you let me know too.
We don't want to work you too hard. Yeah, absolutely.
Hello, unknown.
Hello, unknown. We broke it. I love it.
Okay, another piece of feedback.
Yes, why is it not working if you're following the instructions? Right, let's, I think, let's leave that for now. We can work it out later. I'm more keen to go into your app now and start adding the identity components, right?
Let's do it.
Let's do this. And I think it's the most useful one if you just keep the two Visual Studio instances side by side, the Visual Studio Code instances side by side, and then just grab and copy paste and what have you.
Yeah, actually, probably a good time to take a break. Let's just do like a couple minutes.
Okay, well, we'll stay everyone on the stream. We'll see you in 10 minutes, more or less. Stick around. Thanks, everyone.
Absolutely. So I'm going to, should I turn off my camera or keep it on? Okay, cool. I'll see you in a bit.
Yes, I'm good to go. And I am unmuting you. So there you go. We should be back online. It should take a couple of seconds. I'm waiting for the transition to happen. Should be online now. How long does it take to transition? Interesting. Hey, and we're back.
Yes,
Thanks
I'm
everyone
good to go.
for sticking around. Thank you so much.
I am unmuting you. So there you go.
Right.
Back
Where were we? Where were we?
All right, so we have the app. We have B2C working against the test app.
Waiting for the transition to happen.
Now we want to get all of that working in the meme analyzer.
Exactly. Right. So as I said, the easiest one for me was to just open them side by side, and then as I took you through the changes, we just need to add them into your project.
Okay, so I'm just going to stop the app for now.
Yep.
I'm going to open the web app in a new instance.
Mm-hmm.
Just so it's scoped to my Blazor app only.
That's a good point. Keep it nice and simple.
Okay, so on the left is the test app. On the right is my app.
Yeah, and all we need to do now is go like file by file and then start adding the changes. So let's start with the webapp.cs proj. Or we need to add the package reference.
So let me just zoom a little bit out.
Yeah.
How's that for size? Is that all right?
I think it's still visible. I'm just looking now at the stream. So yeah, you're good. You're good.
Okay, cool.
Eventually, we will transition off the two screens, but yeah, it's the pain of streaming and showing and having it visible for everyone to see. Right. So we need to grab the ASP, the Microsoft Authentication
This one?
.msol. Yep, that's the one.
Okay, let's add it.
And then Visual Studio Code automatically will say, hey, would you like to go for you and restore the packages, which is nice when you get prompted.
I didn't get that, but
Oh, that's interesting. You did say, I don't know what you're... I wonder if you're missing an extension, although that shouldn't really matter because .NET should pick it up. Right, so we have that one. Then go into program.cs on both files. And then on the left-hand side as well, right? We need to add the authentication bit here. So here we have just that. Grab the line 22 to 25 and stick it on our app. Let's resolve the dependencies.
okay, I'm just going to do
Space dot. Is it space dot or shift dot? Can't remember.
I do control dot for me.
Yeah, control dot, yeah.
Introduce local. Okay, so
Oh, it seems like it hasn't resolved the dependency. Or the NuGet. So it did restore the NuGet package, right?
don't think so. Let's take a look.
All projects up to date for restore.
All right, let's restore that guy. Yeah.
You can also add the, although there's no, see, is it still complaining?
Yes. Let's see. Which namespace do we need?
No namespaces. You should have picked it up automatically.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Maybe it's just a quirk inside VS Code. Because
Okay, let me just reload
successfully,
window.
right?
I'm just going to reload Windows, see if that works.
Okay. Seems like IntelliCode is not super up to speed on the, so no complaints now in the
Let's take a look.
program.cs.
Hold on, let me zoom out again here.
Yep. Yep, see, it's gone.
Okay. Close.
Close.
Okay.
So we have web app and we have program.cs. Let's go into the app.razor.
Okay.
And then you'll
App.razor.
notice that we have, well, I would say, grab the whole from the left-hand side and put it on the right-hand side.
Okay. All of this goes.
Yeah. Again, I suspect that this is just IntelliCode not playing ball with us. Let's go into the imports.razor. Here we need to add the extra component, which is the authentication bit, line 3. So that's it. Then inside www, we'll change the index.html. There is this dependency at line 21, or the script that we need to bring in.
Script, yeah, okay. Oops.
Yep, that's the only thing that we need to change here. The app settings suggestion is the same. We don't change here anything. So we need to go into the share now.
Hold on.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we need to add that. Sorry. Yeah, I forgot about that. Let's grab the AD B2C, so line 2 to line 6, and bring it over. So we're adding the authentication as we go here, the bits that we need for authenticating to B2C and what the code needs. So we added the dependencies, and now we're adding the appropriate files. In shared, we need to change a couple of files and add one more file as well, if I remember correctly. So expand the shared. We have the login display, which we can copy verbatim.
.razor.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think that's feedback for the VS Code team, the fact that the IntelliCode is struggling, not nice. Then we need to go into the main layout.
Okay.
We need to actually, I will leave the sidebar out because we don't need the nav bar, but we need in the class main, I think we need the top div, right? The one that brings the login display. So line 8 to line 11.
I actually can take this whole deal, yeah.
Yeah, you can take the whole thing, you're absolutely right.
I'll just remove that ASP.NET link.
You mean you don't want people to know how to... What is ASP.NET? Right, then we have the redirect to login. That's a new page that we need to add to our solution.
Got it.
And that's again, copy verbatim.
Okay.
And then in the pages, we need to add a couple of things. I think it's only one actually. It's the authentication.razor. This is the one that gets called every time we do either a login or a logout action.
Okay.
I think that's all we need, my friends. So if we save and run, we should see the login option there, and we should be able to log in. Can you run this in isolation without the APIs
yeah.
as well?
I'm actually going to, let me do this. I'm going to go back to my other instance here.
Build failed. Oh, it's...
I stopped it.
All right, okay.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run the API.
Okay.
So I'm going to do let me just zoom in here a little bit. So these are, every component here is containerized.
Yep.
And I use Docker Compose to run them. So I'm going to do Docker Compose up build.
And just the Azure SDK API, right?
Yeah, so it's AZ SDK demo net API, I believe.
Should be.
Demo net service. And we can take a look here inside of Docker Compose and see the name. That's the web app.
Yep.
AZC demo net API Q service. Okay.
Close. We were close. So we have the 3 service dependencies. So the web app will run, but it will be throwing error messages because it can't find the APIs or what have you. So what we need is
going to start those 2.
Yep.
And then I'll go back. So that allows us to iterate on the Blazor app outside of a container.
Yep.
There are other ways to do it, obviously, but this is one of those ways.
Yeah, and I think Docker Compose was fairly. I mean, I'm not expert in containers, and I always struggle with them. But Docker Compose was something that I could easily wrap my hand around and get up and running quickly. And with conversations I had with people, it seems that they prefer this over spinning up a full AKS cluster locally or remote, right?
It's a good stepping stone. And actually, I have a video on my YouTube channel that brings you through going from Docker Compose to local Kubernetes to AKS. So let's just link to that in the channel notes.
Absolutely. If you want to ping it to me, I can put it on the chat. I think they dropped some new .NET containers yesterday for
nice.
3.1. Because as I was running the project, I saw updates coming down. I was like, oh, that's interesting. New bits.
Yeah, so that is the YouTube there. But I have somebody I used to work with over in CSC who's all up on containers and Kubernetes, Vita. David Fowler and Dan Wallin joined me on that one.
Nice.
Okay, so we have the API and the Q service running. I'm going to go back to my other instance here. I'm just going to do a .NET. Let's see. If I do a .NET run, I think it's going to run on the 5000 endpoint. Let's take a look. Let me see if we're still running. Are we still running in the old? Yes, we are. Let me just stop that. Okay. So clicking here. Good. Launch the app. Okay. Okay, cool. So we now have a login button up there.
Fantastic.
Let me click that, see what happens. Completing login. Oh, it's a different port here.
Ah, that's why.
Okay, so let's try and find that other page.
Yep.
Let's see.
You were right there. App registrations.
App registrations. And it was here.
I'll let you drive. There you go.
Let's just do localhost. That port. This. Click save.
So it binds to one port inside WSL, and that remains for the duration of while you run the app. So it's not going to change every time you spin it up again. Is that correct?
I actually don't know. I haven't paid attention to that much. So I guess we'll find out.
We'll find out. Because I know that a lot of people are switching to that kind of working model, right? WSL with VS Code and then doing everything in that solution.
Okay, there's an error.
An error trying to log you in. Authentication login fail message. Let's grab that one.
One is not registered. Okay, so login callback provided in the request is not registered for client ID. Okay, so let's do this. Let's actually, because I was at 127. Let me just see if I am at localhost and try it. Okay, there we go. Yeah, let me log in.
Secret off-screen stuff.
Signing in. Cool.
Still unknown, which is super weird.
Yeah, especially since we went into my user account and saved the name. Yeah, so that's just something we'll have to debug.
Can you go back into the Azure AD portal, the B2C portal?
Yes.
And if you go into users, I think it's using the second one for some reason. We had two users registered, remember?
Okay.
So if you go into users, click on the unknown. I think that's the one that was created. Yep. And if you edit this one and refresh the page back in so I think this is where the name is coming from. So click on edit.
What's unclear is why.
I think the first one is you as the
Oh,
admin.
me as the admin.
Yes. Whereas the second one is this is the one that you register yourself, and because you didn't collect any names as part of the sign-in form, it did not populate.
Okay, well, that's a good call. All right, cool. So let's go back and refresh.
So I don't want to see unknown anymore. I want to see John or John Gallant.
Let's just refresh and see if it pulls it in. No. Okay, let's log out and log back in.
Yep.
Okay.
The next one is going to be a doozy. We're going to add external logins. There you go. All fixed. Right. We have a name. We're authenticating. We're getting our tokens back. If we so now what we want to do is a couple of things. One is to add an external identity, right? Maybe Google or Twitter or Facebook or whatever. It's totally up to you. I will probably preface this one by saying I tried to add Twitter, and my Twitter account was not working for some reason. I'm still checking with the team to find out why.
Okay.
I added GitHub as an external provider. I was able to log in, but when I added the extra permission for the API, it stopped working. Fun times. But I was able to get to work with a Google account. So I created an app registration inside Google that says when somebody comes to B2C, I want them to be able to log in with Google, and then API permissions work there as well. So I'm happy to take this for a spin and see which one you want to go with. I'm just saying that Google worked for me out of the box right away. With the other ones, I spent some time and I couldn't get to work. So,
Gotcha.
Do you have a Google account?
Yeah. So I'm curious. Did you get the flow through the API at all?
Yes, I was. Because for the API, what you need to do is you need to create an app registration inside Azure AD in the tenant. And we can go and create this one, in fact, if you want to do that now.
So I'm personally more interested in that than in adding, Google. But I'm open. But
well, we can do that first then. So let's go and do that. If you go back into the Azure AD B2C portal, we need to add an app registration for our API.
okay, yeah, just give me 1 second.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so here. Okay, so yeah, walk me through what we need to do.
So in here, we need to create a new app registration, right? So let's go into the app registrations. Click on the new registration. And here we'll just name it SDK, is it API? Demo API, yep. Again, we'll leave the supported types as they are. Leave the redirect URI as it is, and then click on register.
Okay.
Now here, we need to go into the in the expose an API. And here we want to add a scope. So click on the add scope, save and continue with this one. And then we want to add a scope. Usually the de facto one is access as user. So access underscore as underscore user. It can be anything. It can be read, it can be master, whatever you want to do it. But most of the documentation go with access as user, and I like so as user rather than access user. So access as a user.
So access as user.
User, yep. And then in the admin consent display, just put something like access the app as a user or whatever. This is the information that gets displayed to the users when they consent.
Okay.
However, they're not going to be able to consent because this is I'll explain a bit. And then admin can send description, just copy paste the top message, doesn't really matter. We want it to be enabled, and let's click on the add scope. So we have that information here. In the API permissions, if you were click on the API permissions, it's on the left-hand side.
Right here. Okay.
Yep. If you were calling into graph or other information, then you would need this one. Right now, we leave it as it is. We don't need to add anything else. So from an API perspective, this is the information you need to have an authenticated configuration there. So if with this information, we can go back into our .NET API now and start adding the necessary bits.
Okay. So here, let me just stop this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now source net API.
Yep.
Open that in a new instance. Just going to close those files. Okay. Okay.
So here we are going to follow the documentation that can be found. I'll send you the link, so you can follow along rather than me telling you blindly what to do. If only Teams was a little bit faster this morning. Got it. My machine is going into meltdown. I think I need a stronger device to run the streams. So I'm going to put it on our chat, and then you can open that link. So we have a new library called Microsoft.Web, which is designed to work with either AD or B2C, and when it comes to authenticating ASP.NET Core apps, makes your life a lot easier. So in this instance, if you open this link over here, we have a lot of samples that show you how to do things. And in this instance, we're using a web API, web app to your web API using B2C. So if you click on the to-do list service, this is where most of the necessary information is. But it shows you how to. We have a lot of samples here. One of them is actually working with B2C. So first and foremost, now that let's go back into the documentation, make sure that we haven't missed any steps in the API registration. So if you scroll down a little bit in the docs overview, a little bit further down. So create your user flow, create your web app, scroll down a little bit.
This one, does this matter?
This is for the web app, not for the API.
Got it.
So scroll down a little bit more. Oh, I love it. They don't have the API. So scroll down a little bit. So this is what you need to change if you were using the old authentication. But this is for the front end, not for the API, I think. So scroll down a little bit more. To-do list item, scroll down. They might not have there you go, for the API. So here they show you what you need to do and how to configure it. For the reference, scroll down a little bit more. So you'll see that inside the startup, we'll need to add the code here that they have down here. So first thing we need to do is add the necessary NuGet package. And that's the Microsoft.Identity.web.
Okay.
So that will go into our .NET Core API project.
So I have this. This first one, right?
Yes, that's the one. Grab the latest.
Preview?
Yeah, we're still in preview. Yeah, we haven't GA'd
Okay.
yet.
Got it.
I like how I say we, but it's a different team that's working on that.
Yeah, sure.
But Microsoft is not GA'd the library yet. So if we're looking under the umbrella of Microsoft, then yes, we haven't GA'd yet. It's coming very, very soon. And with .NET 5, you see a lot more changes around authentication, just to make you aware.
Cool. All right. So it looks like we got the package. Let's take a look. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Okay.
So again, the way I did it was I opened the GitHub repo, and I went into the actual code and started adding the components I needed. It was easier than trying to follow the code here.
Well, can we try it?
We could try it. So
Do we need to add this NuGet as well?
no, that's part of the. I think that's already part of the .NET Core BCL.
Okay.
So you only need to add one reference. So in the startup.cs, we need to add the services, add authentication, add Microsoft Web API. No, it's the second bit. No. A little bit further down, it says in the configure services, replace with. We need the with.
Oh, replace this with this. Got
exactly.
it. Okay.
I know. They sometimes.
Startup.cs. Okay,
Yep.
got it. Well, add authentication. Okay.
It's further up. It's in the configure services. Yep.
Right. I don't think I have authentication.
It's fine. So if you click, you didn't have it because you didn't have authentication before. The document does not say what to do if you don't have authentication. So we just need to add that component there. Yep. Now we also need to add the Azure AD B2C configuration inside your app settings.json.
Got it. Okay.
And the easiest way to do that is if you go back to the GitHub repo and open the services project, you should see the app settings and follow that example.
To-do list service.
Yep. And then app settings.json.
Okay.
And this is what you need to grab.
This whole deal?
Just the Azure AD B2C.
Okay. Got it. Back to the API.
Yep. You need the instance, you need the client, you need the domain. You don't need the sign out, sign on callbacks and what have you.
I think I did AZ SDK demo, or was it Azure SDK demo? Let's look in the other project.
The client ID needs to be, look at the other one and make sure we use the right client ID.
AZ SDK demo, client ID. AZ SDK demo. This is the flow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Here, right?
Let me see. Yep. So I don't think we need the sign out templates because these are for the UI. There's no UI in the API, right? So the API grabs the token and validates it against the Azure AD B2C.
Okay. So what flows do I need for the API? Do I need to create new flows?
There are no flows, right? So what the API will do is it will grab the authenticated token that when it comes from the front end, and then it will pass it on to Azure AD. And then when you have an authorized tag or authorized attribute inside a controller, it will say you can't hit it unless you go into Azure AD, you authorize and then come back. And if it's not authorized, you get a 401 or a 403. So you have that one there. So that should be enough. Did we change the client ID with the
yes.
API?
So the only thing I changed here are these three.
And this is all you need. I think the other ones are ignored by the APIs. Just leave them there for now. Don't
leave
worry
it there.
About them.
Okay.
So back to the startup.cs.
Okay.
So we have the add authentication, add Microsoft Web API. And it's using the JOT token. It validates the name claim, and then it binds to the Azure AD B2C. Now, what else do we need here? Let's go back into the GitHub repo. Now, if you go to the startup.cs, no, I think you went too far. Startup.cs, yeah, inside there, scroll down a little bit. So we have the add authorization policy. So this is where we say when the request comes in, we need to check for the appropriate scopes. So let's grab the line 47 to 52.
Okay.
And the scopes requirement that you see there is a custom class. So we'll need to add that as well.
Okay.
So it should complain for the scopes requirement. Interesting. It doesn't. Does it even resolve? No.
Don't think so.
IntelliSense for the win. Right. So go back to our GitHub repo and let's grab the code from that class so we can add it here, because it won't build. It will be insane if it built without that. So it should be one level up.
Got it.
Authorization policies.
And maybe I should just clone this repo like you suggested.
No, it's fine. That's the only thing that we need to grab, to be honest. And then it's one more line inside. Yeah, copy that one.
What was it? Application policies?
No, it's scopes requirement.
I mean, the folder it was in.
You don't need the folder. I put it on the root the other day. It's up to you, obviously. It's your code base. I don't want to dictate how it's running. Open source. Good citizen.
Scope.
Just need to change the namespace, right?
Yeah.
Let's
figure out what that API. Yeah. Okay.
And I will remove the authorization policies unless you want to have that extension there as well. Let's make sure that we have everything we need here in terms of like no error messages or whatever.
Build it.
Yep. There are a couple more steps that we need to do, right? To add.
So is read
error.
scope the right thing to do here?
So that's the name of the scope. So that's
okay.
the name of the policy, not the name of the scope. We will need to change the scope to be access as user.
And that's this here?
Correct.
Because that's what we created as a scope in the portal.
Correct. In fact, we can test the information inside the, so we can test everything in the .ms website once we authenticate using the portal, just to make sure that once the app registration gets updated, the client app, when we update that the token that comes back contains both the ID token and the access token to the API. So that's a little bit further down the line.
Okay.
So you can either leave the scope as it is or change the policy as it is or name it something else. It's totally up to you.
That's
and
fine.
I can't remember if we need to change the scope to be the full qualified domain scope. But for now, we have the read scope. We have the name of the scope that should be passed by the token. So that gets validated. And then inside the configure, we need to add one line. So in the configure method, we need to add the app.use authentication.
Got it.
So that's almost done. The only one thing missing here is the controller enforcing the authorization, right? So in your controllers, there. You can either add it at the top of the controller, so above the API controller, or you can add it in the methods that you want to authorize. And you can have different authorization policies, right? So you can have multiple access tokens, multiple scopes, and then based on the scope that the user acquires, can come and get the information. So if you want to do that, you can just do at the top of the controller, we can say authorize a new attribute. So add an attribute authorize. Sorry, it says authorize. Yep. Authorize. And then open, close bracket. I think in there you need to add the name of the policy, which is read. Can't remember. Let's go back to the app settings. Sorry, the startup.cs. What did we name it? We named it read scope, was it? Yeah, read scope. So that's the policy we're forcing.
For the whole controller. Okay, got it.
Yeah. So let's build this one and see if it works.
Okay. We got one error before. Let's see. Job bearer defaults does not exist.
Yeah, I think we did not bring the namespace down, so we did not resolve the namespace. Sorry. So if you go back into the startup.cs, a little bit further up. So
Oh, this.
Yeah, but for some reason the IntelliCode
IntelliSense is not working,
doesn't pick it up. So we need to, if you go back to the doc, the GitHub repo, it had the namespace that we needed to add to that page.
Yeah, got it.
Which should be one more up. So so it should be the line 10.
Got it.
Yep. Let's try to build again and see what happens. Oh.
Authorize. And that's in the controller.
Yep. I think we need to, again, bring the appropriate using. So if you go back to the controller again, that's weird. Sometimes VS Code does that with .NET. So it should be Microsoft ASP.NET authorization. The line 25 is the one we need to.
What's interesting is they don't put the scope name.
Yeah, scroll down a little bit. You'll notice that they have the authorized and then policy there.
So I should do policy equals too, right?
Yeah, I think so. Although when I was checking the IntelliCode, it did not ask me for. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that, and then also at the, I think it's line 10 that has the namespace, or 25 it was.
Okay.
There's, yeah, line 25.
All right, let's build.
Let's see. Authentication builder is not going to have information for add Microsoft Web API.
Okay.
I
That's
wonder.
a startup.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
a startup. Add authentication. Let's go back into the solution. Let me see. Let me see what I have in mind.
Let me just reload just to be, because we're having issues.
Yep.
No, same. Okay. Let's see what namespaces they have. Add Microsoft Web API. So what library? Okay. Let's go back to startup.
So
Don't think we have. Let's just see what we have and what we don't here. Builder, hosting, configuration.
yeah, we don't have the authorization.
We also don't have this.
Ah,
Yeah, we never added that namespace.
and you don't have the. Oh, that's the authorization policy. We don't need that one. Yep, we don't need that.
Infra.
That's interesting. Let's add it there and see if that. Okay, let's build and see what happens now. It was just namespaces references. Okay, which is good. And next, what we need to do is we need to go and update our client app registration to go and grab the appropriate access token for the API. So back into our browser and the portal. In here, if you go into the client app now, not the API,
Okay. Yep.
the client app, we need to go into API permissions.
Got it.
And here we want to add the permission. Click on the My APIs now, because we're building a custom API that you just built. So that's
Nice.
the one.
Yep. Got it.
Click on this one and then click on the access as user
Okay.
and then add the permission.
So when I authenticate, it's going to get that.
Correct.
scope.
Now, before you do the next step, you need to click on the grant admin consent for Azure SDK demo.
Got it.
That's a quirk that I found yesterday with playing with B2C. And now I would say, let's go and test the flow without really using the apps yet. So if we go back into the root, remember how we created flows? And there's an option to test stuff. So here, user flows.
Yeah.
Now we want to click on the R flow and say run user flow. And
Yes.
for the output, we want to the reply URL to be our jot.ms.
Okay.
So now if you run the user flow, you don't need to
Just,
change that.
I just want to take a look. So access.
Yeah, grab the Azure SDK demo API. Scope selected, yep. See, we
Got it.
have access as user down there.
Yep.
And then click the run user flow. So this will prompt you to authenticate as we did before. So try to log in, please.
One second.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So let me do this just so I don't share a jot.
It's fine. It's a test. We can wipe it out later.
So this is, yeah, so that was returned. I got the jot. Let me see if I can.
If you scroll down to the actual breakdown, so you don't have
Yeah.
to have the top part, just leave the bottom part if that's possible. So you'll notice here that we have the expiration of time, nonce, sub. Interesting. I don't see the access token there. Jot, yeah. Okay, maybe B2C is slightly different, so it doesn't bring the.
Okay.
Because I would have expected to bring down the scopes for the access token.
Right. Same. Oh, let's see.
There should be an SCP field there somewhere.
No, I'm not seeing it.
Okay, try. Let's run the user flow again, and that's very interesting. Why does it not bring the? Right. Let's go back into. Let's click on the application claims on the flow there. I mean, it should bring down the claims anyway, but
Right here.
yeah.
Okay.
So that's the application claims. That should be fine. That's just the user information. User attributes, identity providers. Okay. Let's leave it like that for now, and then we will come back and look at that if we see that the access token doesn't come down. Right, let's go
Okay.
back into our web app. Now we need to add one liner to allow us to also grab the access token in the right scope when we bring it down.
Okay.
So if you go back into the original documentation that we're looking at to begin with, I don't know if you remember that one, or if you still have it open.
Yep.
Okay. So a little bit further down here, it has access token scopes. So that's the one, right? So here inside our startup.cs, we need to add that line that says options.provider options default access token.add.
Okay.
And the scope URI so that's inside the after line 29. Perfect.
Got it.
And here the scope URI needs to be something that I created a static property in my class in the class.
Okay.
I created like a local variable for it. And you can grab the scope URI from the portal. So if we go back to the B2C tenant and the client app itself.
Okay. Client app.
And if you go into API permissions and click on the access as user, you can copy to clipboard as it prompted you there, the whole thing.
Got it.
Yep. So that should be it. So now when you log in, it should bring down the appropriate token as well, and we can test it.
Okay. So are we good to test it now?
Almost. I mean, right now you're grabbing the so now that when you log in, it should bring down the token as well. But we're not passing the token to the API call, right? So our calls to the API will need to be able to grab that token.
Okay. Okay, so inside of index is where I call the API.
Mm-hmm. So the HTTP is an HTTP client, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we need to add an authorization header there.
Do you have that code, or are we going to figure it out?
We need to figure it out now.
Okay. Let's see if we're able to add.
HTTP, or we may need to craft an HTTP request.
Yeah, I'd really like to use the get. Let's see.
Yep.
So we have the client. So, okay, so in here where I set up this transit, I'm instantiating this new HTTP client. From now on, well, we could add it here when I instantiate the new client, right?
Yeah, I think so the question is, how do we grab the token that we already got back from the authorization in order to be able to, so at this point you need to have access to the token, right? So if you do add transient now, at this point, I don't think you have already authenticated into the app itself, and there's a good chance that the token will be null or there will be nothing there. So let's work out how to add that token. So what do we need to do here?
I think if I'm in here, I still have access to HTTP.
Yep. Is there a constructor on these methods?
Well, yeah, I get JSON from.
Oh no, sorry. I mean, this is a index razor. So does the index razor has a constructor? Usually we can inject the iToken acquisition method there.
I'm sorry, I missed what you said. What constructor?
So this page, the index.razor, does the class have a constructor?
Probably I don't
not.
think so. I've just been using this on initialized async.
Okay. Just trying to figure out. So what we need to do is there's a class called iToken acquisition, which is exposed by the Microsoft.ident.web, which allows you to grab the token for the client.
Right.
It validates that the access token, the identity token I have is right, and then it goes and grabs the access token for you, and then you can take that token and pass it into the there you go, ads. So or is there an authorization? Because sometimes it exposes the authorization. There you go, authorization. And then I think if you open close bracket, is it? Or maybe didn't do any call, sorry.
See what type that is. It is authentication header value.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, authorization. Wait. Yeah, authentication header value.
And there should be open close brackets, bearer. Is that? Yeah. What's the other? Yeah. So you have bearer. So there should be bearer.
Hold on. So it's asking for a scheme, and by scheme, do they mean bear?
Yep.
Okay.
So it's bearer, comma, access token or a string. So that string needs to be something that we will grab. So that will be the token that we grab back from the iToken acquisition class. So the question now is, how do we inject the iToken acquisition into the method or expose it?
Yes, so we can inject into the page using the @inject.
Nice. So let's do inject iToken acquisition and then name it whatever you like. Acquisition.
Yeah, I'm just curious why it's not picking up. But
Is it because we're not using the appropriate Microsoft.n.web? What's the namespace? You should be using Microsoft.n.web.
okay, so imports using. Okay, now hopefully.
Mm-hmm. It's one word, right? One token acquisition. Still not liking it?
Yeah, but we've been having IntelliSense issues, so let's see. Okay.
Still not liking it?
It's a half a squiggly. All right, I'm gonna try and reload again just to see.
Okay. If that solves the problem. Doesn't seem to complain now. So that's an awaitable, by the way. And there's a get access token for user async, which doesn't seem to be picked up. Get access token for user async.
I'm guessing the whole IntelliSense thing has something to do with WSL.
Could be. And in here, you just need to pass the scope. So for us, the scope would be, is that the full list of the scope? What was the, let me see. Scope. I'm just trying to think if we need to pass the full scope. It needs to be a new string array, so new square brackets in there in the get access. No. So yeah, string
you
token.
mean in the actual scope?
Yeah. New string, and then in there should be to list scope. What they have here. Just trying to find an example that have this solution here. So let me just. Funny how you don't always find the right thing. Come on. So it is the scope is the full qualified name. So the one that we had before, if you remember correctly, the one that we had in the there you go. So here, that should be what we need for the, is that the get method? And then we need to assign that to a variable, right? So var token equals await.
Yeah.
And then inside our authorization header, we need to pass that token. And that should
So the
be
return of that is a string.
Yep.
Okay.
Invalid expression. Excuse me. So I think we should be able to build and run this one and see where it fails or where it succeeds. Could be out of the box, all working.
Okay.
The type namespace web does not exist in the Microsoft identity. What?
I don't think we ever added it. I think we added it to the API, but not the web.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, maybe the MSAL stuff is different. Yes, right. Okay. I think we'll take a step back. This is not, I forgot, this is not a server-side solution. So we need to see how we can use the MSAL solution to grab the token. Because Microsoft.identity.web just does that, but we're not using Microsoft.identity.web here. We're using the MSAL stuff.
Okay.
So we need to figure out how the MSAL exposes the token here. Confusing my server side with my client side and Blazor now. So
See what's in that namespace, maybe.
yeah. Just trying to see if they have an example where they grab tokens. Looking at the GitHub repo now to see if there are any if there is information about how to grab the token.
Yeah, I think I found a page here. Let me send that over to you.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to share it on the screen so other people can see it as well?
Yeah. Let's see. Okay, so this is the additional security scenarios page.
Nice.
So request additional access tokens.
Which we did, right? Oh, let me see. Add options
Yeah.
provider, additional scopes to consent. So what do we have in our solution? See again.
Yep, so let's take a look. So in our web.
In the startup, right?
Yeah, so instead of this.
Right, we need the other. Okay.
I believe we had this.
Okay, let's do that. I would probably comment that out and then keep it there for now.
And then just add this.
Yep, correct.
Got it.
And if we go back to that doc, that's a great doc because I think there's a different class that they expose here. So in the Azure component, you need, there you go, access token provider. Slightly different. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So inject and using, and we'll add this to the Razor component.
And I'm pretty certain that they're wrapping around the same kind of functionality that ident.web was doing. So
right. So let's go back here. Let's just remove that.
Yep.
And back to index here, and then before here, let's comment this out.
Yep.
So here we're just saying, okay, so token result, token provider, request access token, the scopes, try get token.
Nice.
Okay, and
Oh, they have a proper example there. There you go.
request access token, add the bearer. Okay.
Yeah, I would copy probably that those lines from var token results all the way down to the response body and see.
Just question, do we need to implement this request access token? So here.
I think the token provider provides you that class.
Right. I just think that we need this the options here.
Yep. Oh, they don't have it here. Right. Gotcha. Yeah, let's try the first example. And if that works out of the box, then we know it's working.
Okay. this scope here.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
I think we need to do a try get value, right?
Yeah, just checking to see why it's complaining here.
It's complaining for the token because we don't have the token yet.
No, got a squiggly there, but...
Oh, that's interesting.
Oh, right here. Got it. Cool. Now we can get to this code.
Yep.
Okay. Now, in here, token.value. So a request message, I don't think we need this. I don't think we need the custom header. I don't think we need any of that. I think we just grab the token.value.
Yep.
We'll put that. Seems like this whole deal goes inside here.
You could probably have a token variable that gets populated inside the try get token, but you might want to do some try catch or logic there if it doesn't work, right? So images should get populated. Yeah, let's. I think that's what we need. Let's take it.
Yep. So I have another one here, which is get image. So we'll have to look at ways to, and another one here. So we'll have to abstract out that. Well, let's see. Hold on. So this really is just getting the token and setting it here. So it should actually, since we're setting the default headers here on that shared instance, should be okay. Like I think it'll pick it up for further, subsequent requests. Should just work.
Yep.
Now, if we don't get the token, we want to do other actions. But for now, I think we should just try it.
Correct.
Okay, let's just see if we're building.
Interesting. You have your OneDrive mounted into the WSL. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, it's just where I keep my
source control.
Code is in OneDrive.
It's a rudimentary source control, right?
Well, it's there, and it's also backed up to Git as well. I mean, right. It's in Git and backed up to OneDrive.
This we have a question. This question is for John, if possible. How does Microsoft deal with large data sets? In other words, do you use SQL tricks to make it performant like indices? Or does Microsoft brute force it by having massive warehouses with large processing power? Not sure if it's related to your app, but is that something that you want to take on? That's from Scene.
I can definitely get you in touch with people that wouldn't have a better answer than myself on that. That's just not my specialty. So, yeah, if you want to reach out, I can definitely get you in touch.
Well, we can definitely get you in touch with the right people. But I think this is a very open-ended question. We have an insane amount of data coming in from, say, Azure, like analytics and logs and information about performance. Think about App Insights at an insane scale. In fact, App Insights was developed by us in order to be able to internally monitor application uptime and performance, so what have you. We do have a custom engine called Custo that allows you to dump insane amount of information, like terabytes and terabytes of data per day, into a database, and then
it's Azure Data Explorer is the official name on that.
Oh, it is. There you go, Azure Data Explorer. And then allows you to run queries, SQL-like queries inside on that data, but it's super fast and optimized for querying via that engine. And again, it all depends on the solution and what you're building. So I would say choosing the right tool for the right job is important. We have data lakes, for example, where you can dump insane amount of data at a very fast rate, and then use abstractions on top of that to query the data. It can also unify. So data lakes are definitely an option as well. For smaller solutions, you can use SQL. It all comes down to what you need to build. So if you have an insane amount of data that you need to quickly query and manage, then get in touch with us. John can probably put you in the right with the right people, in contact with the right people. But if you are just looking for storage of data, I mean, I've used SQL with terabytes of data and it was fine. There were other issues like backup and restores and high availability that you need to consider, but you can probably brute force it in their own service if you're not careful. Server failed to authenticate the request. Make sure the value of authorization header is formed correctly, including the signature. Can we debug? I mean, at this point, we should be able to do. Oh, that's blob client rest. Is that right? Is that your blob complaining?
Yes. This is actually, let's see. This is running the API.
Right. But we haven't changed anything in that perspective, right? And that's all dealing with the Azure SDK, correct? Not the direct user. So we're not doing it on behalf of the user at this point. Server failed to authenticate the request.
Authorization header formed correctly.
Are you just running the API right now?
Yeah, so API program main, hosting abstractions.
Okay. Blob container client create internal. But that's not related to the Blazor authentication that we just added, right?
Right. So I think what's happening, potentially my token may have expired. So let me just take a look.
So how does Azure Identity deal with expired tokens?
Well, for CLI expiring on the host machine, it will just fail. But for expiring tokens, as in tokens that require user interactivity, that they would automatically refresh. I just see if this is going to. Okay, here.
So John Patrick just joined us late after taking a nice dive at the pool. He's on holiday, but he's committed to the cause. So he's asking, where are we? And as a summary to where we are right now, we've implemented the client authentication with B2C using local accounts. We added an API registration to allow our API to authenticate and validate tokens against the B2C tenants. And we just finished wiring up the end-to-end experience. So we have the client that authenticates, then grabs the access token, and inside one of our Azure pages, we go and validate the token, and we grab and we go and request the access token for the API, and we add that API to the HTTP request via an authorization header, and hopefully that end-to-end workflow works, and it passes the authorization header back to our API, which should be able to validate via the authorized attribute.
Yes, so I need to do something real fast. 1 second.
That's fine.
Looks like yeah. So I just need to publish an Azure SDK blog post. 1 second. I was scheduled it to post today, but apparently.
It didn't go out. There you go.
Yeah.
Fresh news, ladies and gentlemen. We have a brand new blog post coming out from the Azure SDKs team. Is that the July release?
No, this is. Let's see. Make sure that we got it going. 1 second. I'll explain. Okay, still publishing. Just make sure we got it going here. Interesting. It's giving me a 404. Okay.
404 in the blogs or here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, in the blogs. So why don't we?
Multitasking. No, it's fine.
Yeah. Well, just 1 second.
We're multitasking. We're doing both live coding and blog posting at the same time.
Okay, so blog should be live.
Nice.
Okay, just 100% confirm on that. Oh, weird. All right, let me. I'm just going to share the URL with you to see if you can access that. Can you
Sure.
access that page?
Da, 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 da. Do we have a mail read somewhere? JP is like, what is that mail.read permission that I have in your solution? It was the sample, JP. Mail.read scope. Maybe we need to do a search in the solution in case we miss something. So I'm loading the page that you sent me. And yes, it is live. Azure SDK, packaging, tools, and repository structure. Love it.
Okay, good. For some reason it's not loading for me, but it's loading for you. So
It might be
okay.
cast maybe or some weird, especially if you're logged into the site, sometimes it does some weird things.
Yeah. Okay, I logged out and it's fine. I'm not sure what was going on there, so we're good to go. Sorry about that.
No. We're,
Okay,
can you search for mail.read somewhere? I mean, I don't know if you finished with the fixing the expired token, but once you finish with that, then we can look into.
Yeah, sounds good.
We can look into the mail.read somewhere. I think JP was able to capture that quickly, flittingly, in the code.
Okay. Yeah, it looks like I need to do this off screen. So 1 second.
That's fine. So just to explain to people, because the solution is using the Azure SDKs to authenticate to services, we have an expired token. And that's what
That's my
means.
theory.
Okay. Because we're getting a 401 from the blob service, not the Blazor authentication that we added with B2C. So
Yeah,
slightly related, but not actually related. Another authentication issue.
Okay. Just getting back my subs 1 second.
Sure.
Okay. Should be good to go now. Let's try and do a .NET run on that again. Just 1 second here.
Can you do a universal search for mail.read? I don't know if we missed something in the permission somewhere and it's just coming.
I did an easy login, easy logout, and it seems to be working. So I think that's what the deal with that was. Now let's search for mail.read.
I don't think we have it. So it's
that's an API.
Something.
Let's see if there's anything in web.
Yeah. No,
I don't think so.
No, we're good.
Yeah, let us know if you saw what it was.
Yep.
Okay, so we have the web app running. We have the API running, and let's make sure. Yes, we are receiving messages down at the service. Cool. So let's hit the API now. Hit the web app. I have that running here. Okay.
Yep. So we might have a different URL because it's WSL, right?
You potentially, yeah. I think that port is different. So interesting.
Well, we haven't logged in yet, so it's not loading. Default authorization service, authorization failed. Well, we haven't logged in yet, have we? Did you try to log in?
No, but I think what's happening is we're trying to get a token on the initialization of the page. So here, initialization async request access token is happening before we've even signed in. So we almost need to wait until the user is authenticated before making this request.
Yes.
So there must be and then when we redirect back to this page, so let's just see if we redirect back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I am getting an error. Let's see. Remember, we have to change this to localhost, and we have to add that new port.
Is that a new port?
Let's just verify.
Let's just verify. That's probably one of the downsides of using WSL with for debugging locally, right? Because it brings up a different port every time.
Probably there's a way to make it so it's
Sticky.
static.
Right. Maybe we reach out to Rich Turner and we find out a way to make it sticky. I was getting weird core server messages yesterday as I was running locally. That was, localhost refused to connect.